This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. From the corporate office to the cab of a truck, they're here to inspire and empower women in all professions. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome. We're an award-winning show dedicated to empowering women in every profession through inspiring stories and expert insights. No topics off limits on our show. We power women on the road to success with expert and celebrity interviews and information you need. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Kathy.
The construction trades are a profitable and rewarding career. Still, national data shows that women only comprise a little over 10% of the industry. Women have a keen eye for design and are naturally suited for this career path, but many are not encouraged to pursue it. Julie Laughton has had a long career in the design-build industry. She was a trailblazer who started in New York City working for the top 5 developers in Manhattan. She eventually moved to Southern California to enter the residential custom home market. While working as a designer, she realized there would be better communication and a seamless process for the homeowner if they had one person to communicate with on the project. It was a perfect marriage and a logical choice since the majority of women dictate buying decisions in a home. Julie got her general contractor's license to become a one-stop shop for her clients to solve their home building problems. Her companies, Julie Laughton Design Build and JLGC, are well-known and well-regarded in Southern California. She's also the host of the Julie Laughton Living podcast. Julie's here with us today to talk about her path, the obstacles she's personally faced, and how she's opened doors for women in the construction industry. Welcome, Julie. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for being a trailblazer.
You're welcome, Shelley and Kathy. I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, man, we're excited. This is so cool. I thought we could begin with you telling us your story, how everything began, and what you faced in a male-dominated industry.
Well, I was drawing things and, architecturally at 14. And then I thought in college, I thought I would go and be an architect. And then I thought, oh, no, let me do landscape architecture. And I thought, oh, no, let me do interior design, which is really space planning and architectural interiors. So my counselor at the time, who was a woman, kind of a strong woman, says, Julie, you need to pick a degree. Anyway, so what she did for me is she got me shipped over to New York City for my internship. And I started working for architects there and doing all these wonderful commercial spaces. And it was great, but I was just the only girl in the drafting room. But what happened is this other woman found me in New York City. I don't remember how I met her, but she was hooked up with the 5 top developers, and they were all the top 5. And she was like a family friend, and she did all their model homes and some lobbies and some bank and other things for them. So she had me as the head designer. So I was at 22 years old presenting to the developer himself, Milstein, Goodstein, Lefrak, Zeckendorf, Silverman. She would send me to the meetings with them. And I was in my 20s because she wasn't a designer, but I was the head designer. And then I was also the dressman. So I'd go to the field in my 1980s skirt and heels and, talk to the men and be on large construction sites and, catcalls in the 80s. So you always got that. But I kind of knew, well, here's the deal. I was doing this in my 20s, and it was fascinating because I was working with the largest contractors and the largest construction companies in the world. So I just knew that something about standing in the dirt did it, because to this day, I still do the same thing. I make sure the plans are accurate, and I'm standing in the dirt while I'm doing it. So it's kind of funny. So my career actually happened naturally from day one. So, but the being 20 something in New York City and dealing with those major men, and everyone at the board meetings was 50 years old and I was 20 something. I mean, she wouldn't even go to the meetings with me. It was just, there's where I got my experience and my cahoots. What do you call it? My, because they're all Jewish developers. Yeah. She was Jewish and I was a shitska. It was hilarious, but it was funny. But that's where I got my business sense and my I was scared and nervous, but that's where I got the confidence because they liked me and they actually dealt with me. And I did their private homes too. So it was fun.
So you just kind of jumped in there. Like you said, you were scared. It had to be intimidating. First of all, you're still learning the trade, and then you're with these really big
I mean,
operations.
yeah, like she'd take me in her town car to the meeting and I thought we were going together. I remember this. And she opens I open the door to get out to go into the meeting. And I go, aren't you coming? She goes, nope. And I was like, and she just kind of gives me a shove. It's sink or swim, babe. You're going to sink or swim. So I can, and I just laughed and I went into the meeting by myself. And I remember it was just like, wow. And scared to death. But I can now say I swam in New York City and it was wonderful. I also had a very wonderful nightlife and a lot of wonderful friends. I mean, the New York City experience was wonderful. And that's what put me on the map. And really, I came to California with professional experience. Like, there's no other woman that I know that can say she's an architect, an interior designer, and a licensed contractor that has the professional experience in the residential arena. So it's because some people do one or the other and then they have other people do it. But I truly am this one-stop shop, but we'll talk about that more later.
So you became a Renaissance woman, essentially, and with all of that experience. And what you bring to the table is so essential.
It's insane the amount of work that I managed for a client, because if they had to hire the people that I manage, it would be 11 at a minimum for a residential project. And I don't just hire them, I manage them for the client's best interest, because if you don't have a project manager managing all these people you would have to hire, it doesn't really work because the clients don't know and what's going on and who should be getting along with who and who should be done at what time. They don't know. So it's kind of dangerous for clients to be hiring 11 different people and hoping they work together and play nice in the sandbox.
Sure, and make sure they do the job.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get some, I'm sure, that if they can get away with not working, they might,
And then they always point fingers at each other. So I always tell my clients, I'm the only one you're talking to. I can't point my finger at anyone because it's me. The buck stops with me. And I'm championing this project for you because I'm used to being a project manager more so in helping them, because a client can't understand unless you explain and give them knowledge and explain why things are happening. It's a whole different thing being their project manager with five-star concierge service. That's what I'm really doing, because God, the players could be anybody, right? But they're my players. But it's that personal relationship with the client where you're constantly updating them and constantly explaining so they build the trust and they're comfortable and they understand, because most of my clients are busy. They don't really want to know, but they need to know, so it's a whole thing about that balance.
Sure. Well, they want the job done correctly. They want it done well, and they want it to stay within budget too.
Yes. And I can honestly say that I'm always on time and always on budget because I draw the plans and nothing gets in my way, except of course when clients decide to make a million change orders after construction starts, but that's a whole nother story. And most clients are good about it, but some are not. And that creates a lot of drama and stress. But I hate to say it, but it's not my fault.
Things happen, right? It's just kind of called life.
Yeah. People get excited. And it's funny how the construction is, because it's a very creative process and it's a wonderful process, like you're birthing a new home or like birthing a child. It's fun because it's creative, right? You're building something together, but it's also the most stressful thing a woman or a man can go through as a couple or as a person, other than death and marriage. I mean, it's up there on the Richter scale because you have to participate and make decisions and know what you want and, and then be able to keep up with the payments. It's very stressful, and especially, and if the players aren't getting along, good luck. So it's a whole thing.
So did you ever run into difficulties when you were trying to supervise the credibility factor where the guys are like, we don't have to listen to you? I mean, what kind of obstacles have you run into?
Well, when I was only a designer in New York, they would just look at me funny and, check, just is the cat calls and whatnot. because I didn't have any power. So when I did become the contractor, the first couple of years, it was funny because I was still young. It was in my 40s. And they just couldn't figure out why this young chick, because they look younger than I am, was in there ordering them around. So I was constantly challenged on my ability. So they'd ask me trick questions, and then anyone that didn't shake my hand right or couldn't stop looking at my ass, I just don't work with those people. So eventually I figured it out that I can only work with men that respect women. And that took, a few years to figure out there is just certain men you can't work with. And because here's the deal. Once you are a contractor as a woman, they don't care you're a woman. Well, you know what you're doing. So, because when you get on a construction slab, it's dangerous. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get kicked out no matter who you are. So that's all they want, is the respect for what they're doing and the knowledge that you, the leader, are actually leading. And then it's all capiche, all good. It's all copacetic. It's good. It's weird because managing men is managing, we're managing knowledge and, with knowledge, it's once you're in it, then there's the respect. It's funny. And there's no other, but it took me a while to figure out there's certain guys you just can't work with because they're never going to respect women and they're not professional. So it's unfortunate, but after the first couple of years, it became easy because I have a little test of how I know if the guy's going to respect me.
Oh, tell us more.
What's the test? I want to ask. The test is how he shakes my hand.
Oh, okay.
If he shakes my hand firm, we're good. If he shakes it like he's asking me to dance, I'm not going there.
Okay.
They grab your end of your fingers instead of shaking your hand, like they're going to cook your hand type thing. That doesn't work for me.
It's kind of what, but like my dad was in sales actually, but he'd said, if somebody shakes your hand like a fish.
Yeah. There you go. That's the one. That's it. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it goes down to.
A handshake says a lot.
It really does.
And I'm the same.
Cute.
Somebody who gives me these weird, like, some hands are slimy almost. I'm like, is that
I have those little like, ew, slimy and cold.
Yeah, I'm like, no thanks. I'm out.
Yeah. Sure.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you're enjoying this informative episode of Women Road Warriors, I wanted to mention Kathy and I explore all kinds of topics that will power you on the road to success. We feature a lot of expert interviews. Plus, we feature celebrities and women who've been trailblazers. Please check out our podcast at womenroadwarriors.com and click on our episodes page. We're also available wherever you listen to podcasts, on all the major podcast channels like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, you name it. Check us out and bookmark our podcast. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other sites. And tell others about us. We want to help as many women as possible. The construction trades offer a world of opportunity. It's a path that's not only profitable, but deeply rewarding. Yet despite this, national data shows that women make up just over 10% of the industry. But here's the thing. Women have an incredible eye for design, and so many of the qualities needed for success in this field come naturally to us. So why then aren't we being encouraged to take that step? This is what Julie Laughton is doing. With a powerful woman mentor, she began her journey in New York City many years ago, working with some of the top developers in Manhattan as the head designer where she worked. Her mentor taught her to sink or swim. And boy, Julie swam. She was an Olympic champion who took charge where she needed to. The men she met then were twice her age. She faced many challenges in a male-dominated world, but prevailed and gained their respect as the true leader that she is. She went on to Southern California, where she dove into the world of custom residential homes. She customized her service to homeowners and became a one-stop shop for them with a 5-star concierge service with her firm, Julie Laughton Design Build and JLGC. Julie is a proven winner who manages an entire team and who shows that women can naturally excel in the construction trades. She's an example for all women who's gained the respect of everybody and leveled the playing field on gender. So, Julie, would you say the majority of men have been respectful? It's just a small minority that are jerks?
Yes, it's the majority. Yep. And the ones that aren't usually have their own personal issues or are having hard times. So it's a whole thing because, in the real world, that's why I liked commercial, because everybody was respectful and you just followed the rules, and residential was a little like Wild West. So in commercial, even though I was the girl on the job site with high heels and a skirt, because it was the 80s, it was still respectful though, because everybody knew their roles, because there's a lot of rules in union, too.
Oh, yeah?
And it's a big deal. So I love that. So when I came to residential, I had to create my own team of respectful people and stay away from the bad ones. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You had a wonderful opportunity. Your first supervisor, if you will, she was a mentor, she was a champion, and she just kind of threw you out there. It's like sink or swim. And it really is true.
It is.
You learn to think on your feet and you learn to trust yourself.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because what I was doing, funny enough, came naturally because I had all the education and the college experience and the talent. Just like, I dream in color. I see the projects done before they're built. I can walk into somebody's house and see it done in color in the first 30 minutes. So I have a gift from the artistic side, but that's what came through. And I'm a natural born saleswoman, which I didn't know until I was moved to LA. And that's another story of how my actual business started, but it was all there and it just took a minute to develop.
It's amazing until we're actually in a situation. We don't really realize our strengths.
Mm-mm. And it just comes out. It comes out because you're like, I was like numb when I was doing those meetings. I was on autopilot, because you're nervous.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Been there, done that. And when you think about it, just being able to give somebody the opportunity, which I find it interesting that we're in the 21st century and the construction industry only has 10% women. What do you think that is?
Well, first of all, I do truly believe it's a fear of going into it, because I always thought, gosh, I can't do it because I'm not a guy, or gosh, I can't do it because I never swung a hammer. So there was that automatic thing that you think I don't belong. It's like joining an NFL football team. They don't have girls. So you just kind of have that in the back of your mind that I don't belong. But when you're in it and you're good at it, it took me almost 10 years to decide to get the license, just so you know, because I got my feet wet and then I got good at it. But it was funny because it was weird because I just thought, because, designers manage things anyway and architects manage anything anyway. And then the client hires their own contractor and you watch them screw up. So I was in it anyway, but it was like a mental thing and a little fear that I didn't belong, I guess. I never thought about it. And then because I was working as a designer and getting things done. So, and then one day something happened where the responsibility had to be taken, and that was it. Bam. And I said, that's me. Let's do it. I got my license, and it changed my world. It changed my income and my responsibility and my whole world when that happened. But and the clients were like, oh my God, I have a one-stop shop. This is wow. And then everything went smoothly and no more nightmare scenarios. So
were you fearful with each step you took?
Oh, definitely, because when I took the contractor's test, I studied like I was in a college exam. I overstudied and I was really nervous about taking the test. So I get down there they put you in a locked room and they have cameras on you so you don't cheat. And there's somebody standing behind you. I mean, it's heavy duty.
Ooh,
So I'm in
yeah.
there taking the test and I'm kind of breezing through it. And none of the questions that were on that test were anything I studied. It was all stuff I'd learned in the dirt in New York City, including concrete slump. Don't ask me how I remembered that. But
What is that?
it's how the concrete slump, how you can tell the thickness of the concrete and the PSI and the slump. It's called concrete slump and the firmness. There's a ratio thing that tells you what it is. And I don't know how I remembered this, but I remember that was one of the questions and I was laughing because it wasn't on the exam books. And so I got done with the test and I raised my hand and the lady came over and took my papers. And then she came back a few minutes later and says, by the way, you passed and you got a 98% and you took the test faster than anyone in the history, I think, of this office. And I'm like, oh my, and I'm like, that was fun. So I was like, woo. And then the next visit was to the sheriff's office to get my hands, my palms palm prints. So it's, then you're getting into serious business when the sheriff has to copy your palm prints.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. And it was all fun. And I had a lot of people telling me and helping me what to do. And because I had to get all the insurances and learn how to do billing and mark things up and all that good stuff. And then 1 year, 5 years later, I went from 1 million in sales to 5 million in sales. And then during COVID, I went from 5 million sales to 10 million sales. So I have this habit of projecting and jumping my sales because I like to grow. And now I got a big number projected, but we'll see. But I'm in this business like to leave a legacy and then maybe give the business to the employees because I don't plan on retiring until I'm in my 80s. How's that sound?
That sounds terrific. Why not? 80's the new 60 anyway, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's right.
That's what I'm thinking. I still 40 and I'm 62.
There you go. Age is just a number. And women, unfortunately, they're pigeonholed. It's like, it's ridiculous how we're conditioned. We can do whatever we want to do at any particular age.
That's just it. And the societal conditioning is really horrible maybe or bad. And some people live their whole life without taking career opportunities because maybe their parents told them something. Because my parents, I was born in the 60s and my mom and dad never said I couldn't do something because I wasn't a boy or because I was a girl. And my mom encouraged, don't get married. It's, do your career. So a parent, because I know other women my age whose parents said, you can't do that. You can't play that instrument because you're not a boy, So just so you know, I'm a 7 handicap in golf. I was a tennis champion, a skeet shooting champion, archery champion. And then I played the drums, the piano, and the bass violin, the big stand-up bass. And I still play the drums today, and I still golf. And I also was a lifeguard for 4 years and taught swimming lessons. And I was the youngest certified lifeguard in Iowa at 14 years old. So and my mom wasn't like pushing us to do this. We're not overachievers, but I did all that before I was 18. And
That's amazing.
And so, my dad took me to the skeet shooting range and he coached me how to shoot his shotgun and I won because he stood, so it's not like I did it all the time, but just with a couple days coaching, I was fun. I won. I beat all the boys, all the farmers in my town.
You go. Why not? That's
Nice.
great.
Nice.
They weren't going to give you any crap after that, right?
No, they never did because between my dad and my uncles, nobody messed with me and my sister.
I love it. Yeah, I was raised basically a woman can do anything she wants to do.
That makes a big difference.
As long as it's legal, my parents had some parameters there. And that helps. So that's wonderful. So you had parents who were champions and they encouraged you.
Yes.
And you weren't afraid to try new things.
Oh, no. My sister was on the boys' baseball team, the Little League, and she was the home run queen or whatever the first year. And we never thought twice about it. No other girl ever did it since, but she was on the, we never thought twice about it. My grandpa loved baseball and taught us how to throw baseballs and curveballs, so whatever. It was just, we never thought about it. But That was, her thing too.
So if a woman wanted to do what you're doing, or even go into the construction industry, do they need to go to college, or can they go to a VOTEC school? I mean,
You could go to a VOTEC and do a construction management. There are colleges with construction management courses, or you can just get a job and learn, as a project manager, but you need the experience,
Mhm.
you know.
How does somebody go about doing that? I mean, just go to a developer? I mean, who do they seek out to?
You can work for a builder or a developer, and the bigger the company, the better. And some of them might ask for education or experience, but you can always go in as an intern too.
Mhm.
And and learn as you earn. But project management is the way to go, in my opinion. And then you can decide if you want to take the big next step and actually become the contractor, because that's a whole deal
Mhm.
of getting jobs and working. But working for someone else as a project manager, you learn everything from conception to completion, and how the plans work and the submittals work, and then the project and the budgeting and the scheduling. So that's the best advice, is getting, in that project management as a woman. And then the other one is, go ahead, be a carpenter, a framer, a steel worker, drive large equipment like Kathy does. Why not? It pays good. I mean, why
No,
not?
I know. Like I was really fortunate. In Canada, we have a nonprofit organization called Women Building Futures. And one day, if I can, I would want to start one here in the States, because it did wonders. What it is, it's big companies that sponsor programs into the non-traditional trades for women. So electrician, plumbing, carpentry, journeywoman, crane operator, heavy equipment operator, you get your class 1, your class 3, whatever. And it's paid for. And not only is it paid for, but the women that are, because usually, I mean, it's for people that are struggling. Well, the one place in Edmonton has apartments in the same building, so that if someone's coming from a different province, that you can stay there for a month or 6 weeks or however long the course is at, and you get your own private place to stay while you're learning.
I love it. That's amazing.
But wait, there's more. They even find you a job. They look you up, right? They have a whole list of companies that work with Women Building Futures in order to help sponsor these women. I would not have this job had I not went there, because
Well, I just said, you probably wouldn't, seriously, because it's going out on your own and getting the job and joining that boys club. They probably wouldn't hire you, and blah, blah, blah.
So Exxon, they paid $18,000 per woman, and there was 16 women that did the 12-week course, and Exxon hired 11 out of the 16, and I got hired. And yeah, it's been 11 years now, and it's been the best career change ever. I tell everyone, like, oh my God, you got to check it out. Like, just,
I love it. And having that support really helps, because women getting in there, because over here I see that there's like the shop classes aren't coming back to high school, but there's the vocational classes are available after high school, and there's more women getting into that. And that's, kind of where it's at for women too, is the vocational, for the actual physical, like steel workers and whatnot. So it's good to see, because there's more and more groups supporting it, but women need more support, because, it's not like the men don't want you, but you have to have the training and the avenue and all that.
You have to have a door open for you and get your feet wet. I do find it interesting that VOTEC left the high schools across the country, at least in the United States, because that made things available to students so that they could begin a trade before they leave high school. And I know that there's a trend now where not everybody wants to go to college. It's
I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No reason to waste that money when you could go into a trade school.
Yeah. And I think within the past, 40, 50 years, there was always this shift to encourage people to go to college. Well, not everybody is going to be good in college. That's not where their strengths are. Not everybody wants to be sitting in a classroom. They're better with their hands. They're better doing things. And it just made sense to have shop and various other things available in the junior highs and high schools.
Yep. And you don't learn unless you're doing it. Like I didn't learn my craft until I got out into the job.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge difference. You can read a textbook, but to actually apply it, it's a world away, really.
Yep. It's amazing. I just mean more people should be in the trades, and hopefully that trend continues, because that's the only way to get more women in the business. And I know there's another group I think I'm going to be speaking to when I speak to women in National Women in Construction, and they're sponsoring inner city and lower income groups and focusing on women to get them to choose that instead of college or going to McDonald's. I mean, so there's a whole effort on that because they're not going to college anyway. You know what I mean? So
Right. And why not go into a profession that pays well? That's
yeah,
rewarding.
that's the thing. People don't realize how well it pays.
What would be the average entry wage for someone going into the construction industry? I would imagine it depends on what they do, but
Depends on what you do, because the entry level unskilled is the 25, and then as soon as you get a little skill, especially if you're in the union, that's all another deal. But when you get skill, you're 45, 50, and then once you're there, it's 85 an hour. So it's the average is $50 an hour, and then if you're like doing something like Kathy does, where you're actually driving equipment, that's a whole nother ball game, and that's a whole nother pay scale when you're actually handling equipment or welding. That's a whole nother game of money. So it's huge. So just so you know.
Yeah, I do well, we could just say.
I know exactly how much you make. Just kidding. But I know from the past, because I had other friends and that have done it, men, and they really enjoyed their career and the responsibility that comes with it too.
Oh, if I would ever see that facilitator that career workshop, I would give her the biggest tackle hug ever. It has changed not only my life, but it has given me a backbone. It's given me a voice. I got self-esteem. I want to get taller. I stand straighter because, man, you have no idea that how high I was cliff diving off the biggest dozer in the world up like what I was doing last week. Like, upside down, you're like ripping and pushing and like doing all these things.
I guess the fact that you command that machine to do that and you do it with skill, that's just like winning the Olympics every day and getting gold medals every day.
No, here's what was winning the Olympics. Because I learned, I've been trucking for the last 11 years, and then I was operating the biggest grader. Well, these equipment, they're so big, it takes a year to learn. I started the dozer last year at the age of 54. And every single person on my crew told me I was going to fail, that I would not do it. Right. And I'm like, oh, really? Watch this. And I passed. Not only did I pass with honors, with flying colors, the trainer, the head trainer in the mine, he stood up and he came and he shook my hand and he says, I in all my 25 years of doing this, I have never seen anybody turn your training around and take it by the horns and do as well as you did. He says, congratulations, Kathy. And I'm like,
that's huge. That's huge.
Especially at 54. Right? Oh, no. It wasn't a natural. No. I had to really work at it. There's a lot involved. I mean, this equipment, the dozer itself is bigger than a double car garage. The blade, you got to look blade control. There's so many. It's the job itself, because we're ripping above. These shovels are the size of ships, and I'm pushing the oil down to the shovel, and you're almost at a 60% incline, 12 hours of the day.
Wow.
Oh, it's wicked. It is.
Wow. Oh my God, that's scary. That's scary.
Not only, no, it gets worse because the blade is so big that you can't see what's in front of you. And we're working night shift. The only reason you're at the edge is because the whole dozer tips forward, right? And you're at the edge of the cliff, and you're like, oh no, oh no. And then you got to turn this big sucker around, and now you got to back up to the cliff. You got to lower that ripper hanging over the edge, and then you got to rip it, and it's frozen ground. So, because what you're doing is you're ripping it to make it softer for the shovel. So, but you don't know you're at the edge because it's pitch black, it's dark. The only reason, again, is because you're going backwards, and all of a sudden the dozer kind of kilts over. You're like, ah!
Oh my God, that's too much. Oh my God.
Oh, it's intense. It's very intense. So, needless to say, it gave me a backbone. It's given me a voice. Now when I talk to women, I go to women's groups, and I go to women's shelters, I go to youth, I go to, juvenile homes. I talk to these kids, And I say, not everyone, like you were saying, Shelley, earlier, not everyone's meant to be a doctor and a lawyer or work in the corporate world. There are options, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's just it. Yeah, forget that pigeonhole thing,
Yeah.
And I think
Right.
we're getting out of that. I think, with the STEM programs and various other things, I mean, they're trying to encourage more girls to go into things and consider them. They have people coming to the schools to showcase what they do, to show these potential careers. So we're making progress there. But of course, I'm an impatient person. It's like, when, right?
Uh-huh.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
Julie Laughton believes many women have a fear of going into the construction trades. That could be why women only comprise under 15% of the industry. Too often, women feel like they don't belong. Nothing could be further from the truth. Julie's proven it, and she's an ace at what she does. She's a trailblazer and wonderful example for women in the construction industry. She's the highly successful owner of Julie Laughton Design Build and JLGC in Southern California, where she handles custom residential homes and manages teams while offering a one-stop shop for customers with 5-star concierge service. Julie's been talking about the challenges and the victories that have propelled her to the top of her trade. There isn't much that Julie can't do, as we found out. She's an inspiration to all women and the host of the Julie Laughton Living podcast. Julie, it does seem like women are making progress in the trades, but it seems to be at a snail's pace.
It's definitely a movement, and if you dig deeper, it's there, but it's sad that it's less than 15% in the trades. So maybe it'll take a shift with the next generation.
I was the third woman hired. The highest we've ever went to, we had 180 staff, and we had 12 women. And now we're down to 120 because all our trucks went autonomous. So we lost most of the drivers. Well, all the drivers.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
But now we're down to 6 women on my group. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
insane.
I hate to say it, but the people that they're hiring, it's not women.
So that's because they're all lining up because they know it's a good job, and the women aren't being placed or helped, and the women aren't thinking of this. It's because they didn't go the path you did.
Yeah.
There has to be that path for them.
So, Julie, how do we create that path for girls and women?
Well, you have to hook them up with the right people, like all the other women podcasters, like Women in Construction, Women Talk Construction, that are actually trying to reach out to young girls in the business, trying to decide, do I want to be a designer or an architect or a contractor? And maybe I should be a project manager. So there are girls podcasts out there, and lots of groups across the country that are getting women in construction. And I think there's a Pink Hard Hats in Iowa. And there's a many groups already out there. So if you just check your local, state, I bet you there's a group, but they're all over the United States, not everywhere, but even truck driving, there's just straight old truck driving. There's more women getting into that. So I think just to look up the women's group that's supporting it, a National Woman in Construction is really helping with what's next for the next generation and women getting into construction. So that's a good group to look at.
And I would think that being in construction, you're home every night, right? Unless you have to go somewhere that's out of state or something.
Nope, I never travel and I don't have time and don't take vacations. I just have a second house and I still work when I'm here. So my thing is I don't have a nightlife because I get up at 4 a.m. So go to bed at 8. So my life is my work. So 4 a.m. till, 7 at night, boom, that's it. So there is no more social life. I don't need to travel for anything. So
you got those conveniences. And if you don't mind being, up at the crack of dawn or before, that works. So that might be an adjustment for some people, but the money's good, certainly. And if a woman is having to consider daycare for her children and that sort of thing, there's going to be the money to pay for it with that kind of career.
Oh yeah, once you make a certain level, daycare is easy.
Yeah. So there are a lot of options out there. Now, Julie, how do people reach out to you? We'd like to talk a little bit about your business and your podcast.
My website is just my name. So it's www.julielaughton.com. And then I have a cell phone on there, 714-305-2861. But I'm always available, especially to talk to women who are thinking of making a career change or just need a little advice or, pep talk about it. So I'm always available for that. And like I said, there's a whole list of places that are helping women in the U.S. here. And I know 4 or 5. So I'm always available. And then my podcast is once a week, and it's all about my journey and my, what I've basically accomplished, but what I've gone through and how to avoid a nightmare remodel and the tips. Like if you're going to do this, if you don't hire me, like one person, you got to hire, 11 people. And how do you hire them? Who do you hire? And all that stuff. So I just try to give a lot of advice and guidance because the last thing you want is your project to go south,
Homeowners, when they're trying to remodel, it's hard to find somebody who is good that wants to take it on because that's a challenging thing. You're basically, reinventing something that's already there versus starting from scratch.
Yes. Remodels are a lot harder and could be more expensive, and especially if you really want quality. So, but a lot of people are passionate about their home. So I think remodeling is great because you're not tearing it down and starting over. You're preserving and making it better. So, but you can get screwed up really fast if you don't have the people that have the experience and the right people that know how to work with the city, or they don't draw the plans well. So there's a whole thing about it. You have to have a lot of expertise.
Do you ever walk into a project where somebody tried to do it themselves?
That's my biggest pet peeve is owner builder. Oh my God, I can't stand it. And I still have clients today that want to interfere or hire people while I'm working. And I'm like, okay, we're not doing this. Here's what's going to happen if you do this. I mean, you're not the expert. We are. You hired professionals. But anybody that thinks they're going to do owner builder, unfortunately, their motive is usually to save money. But unfortunately, it always costs more money and it always takes longer.
Oh, yeah. Do you want cheap or do you want good? Right?
That's my thing. You can do 3 ways: cheap, good, or fast. And only 2 work together. And cheap is the only one you can't do. When reality, or I won't do, but you can go good and fast, but it costs more. And you go good and cheap, and then it's bad. And then you go fast and cheap, and it's bad. There's the only option is good and fast, but cheap it shouldn't be in the vocabulary.
I agree. Absolutely. So what is your website again, Julie?
It's www.julielaughton.com.
Excellent. So women can reach out to you with any questions about the career field. That's terrific. And certainly anybody in California that would like your services. You're licensed in California, correct?
Yes.
This is the fact that you're a woman, and like I said in the introduction, women make the majority of the buying decisions, especially with the home. It's just a perfect marriage. I mean, you're talking to the homeowners and you're relatable,
I just think that the women, of course, as you know, being in charge should have a easy way out. Because I always tell my clients, they tell me I'm their secret weapon because they got to report back to the husband or their partner. Because there's always, no matter who it is, there's one person in charge and then maybe another person writing the checks. But the point is, you got to make them look good. So you got to educate them and help them do their job better. And it's always the woman in the relationship or the one that's managing the house. So it's kind of funny because it's a no-brainer that they should work with a woman.
I'd say so. This has been a pleasure, Julie. You really are a trailblazer, and I would love to see a lot more women in the construction trades because I think it's just a natural place for women to be, you know?
It is totally natural because women, not to sound terrible, it's women in general are better multitaskers, right?
Yeah.
And then some people are great multitaskers in general, but it's really the women multitasking and then you got to have the creative side and this and that. But it's just a no-brainer that more women should be in construction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Well, thank you for being a trailblazer. And thank you for being on the show, Julie. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's been wonderful. I love talking to women who are in the similar industries.
Oh, yeah. You know what it's like every day. And it's just kind of fun to be a champion. And and then you get the high fives from the guys and then they all, fall in line or, it's the whole thing about, because when you're the boss, not that my guys are afraid of me, but there's a whole thing about the respect,
Yep.
and that's what it's all about is respect, period.
And that's what women have to achieve. It really, in any field, if they're dealing with men, they have to achieve that respect. It's not like it comes automatically. So we have that additional challenge.
You have to earn it by showing you can do it. You can't tell them you can do it. You got to show them.
Mm-hmm. This has been great, Julie. We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode. And if you want to hear more episodes of Women Road Warriors or learn more about our show, be sure to check out womenroadwarriors.com. And please follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. On our website, we also have a selection of podcasts just for women. There are a series of podcasts from different podcasters. So if you're in the mood for women's podcasts, just click the Power Network tab on womenroadwarriors.com. You'll have a variety of shows to listen to anytime you want to. Podcasts made for women. Women Road Warriors is on all the major podcast channels like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, YouTube, and others. Check us out. And please follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at sjohnson@womenroadwarriors.com.